America's labor market in the month just ended, still not bad.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Progressive. Progressive Commercial Insurance offers personalized rates and customizable coverages for your business vehicles. More at progressivecommercial.com.
I'm David Brancaccio in Los Angeles. The jobs reports are just out now. 177,000 more people were on payrolls in April compared to March. That's more than expected, but less than the increase a month earlier. And some earlier tallies were revised downward. That's from counting payrolls. From a house-to-house survey, the percentage of people working remains steady, with the unemployment rate holding at 4.2%. Economist Julia Coronado at Macro Policy Perspectives just looked at the numbers. Julia, with all this tariff toing and froing, how's the labor market looking to you?
It's still looking pretty solid. These are very decent job numbers, a low unemployment rate, so the wheels are not coming off the U.S. economy. We do see some spots of weakness. Manufacturing lost 1,000 jobs. Federal government laid off 9,000 workers. But we still have plenty of job creation in other sectors.
9,000 people. It's terrible if you're one of the 9,000, but I would have thought that number would be bigger given all the budget and program cutting we're seeing.
That's right. The BLS actually clarified that a lot of people who are on paid administrative leave do not show up as job losses in this report. So the numbers perhaps understate the job losses in the federal sector, for sure.
Might show up in, for instance, May. Now, our central bankers are meeting next week on interest rates. How will this report play in, do you think?
Well, I think this tells the Fed that they definitely don't need to be in a hurry to make any rash decisions about policy. We are not falling off a cliff, so they don't need to cut interest rates, especially when they anticipate we may get a burst of inflation from tariffs. So this is a steady-as-she-goes report for the Fed.
Economist Julia Coronado is also a professor at the University of Texas, Austin. Markets, Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ futures. Let's see what we're doing here. S&P futures up 0.4%. So are Dow futures. NASDAQ futures are up 0.2%. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce has sent an open letter to President Trump arguing tariffs pose a significant risk to jobs and may soon do, quote, irreparable harm to many small businesses. The chamber, which lobbies for firms large and small, is urging the White House to lift tariffs on items it says cannot be made in the U.S. and to automatically exempt smaller companies. Marketplace's Samantha Fields has more.
Nicola Perry has been running her British restaurant and shop, Tea and Sympathy, in New York City for more than 30 years. She imports almost everything: baked beans, clotted cream, teas, teapots.
We've already had lots of emails from purveyors saying the prices are going to go up because of the tariffs.
Which means she'll have to raise prices for her customers. She plans on telling them why.
Sorry, guys, but the tariffs is costing us X amount. So we're sharing it out amongst everybody. Otherwise, we won't be here.
In Brooklyn, Mitchell Spitzik is worried his shop, Little Things Toy Store, might not be there much longer. Almost everything he sells comes from China.
We are seriously considering all options in terms of what we need to do to survive.
Namely, trying to stock up on extra inventory that's already arrived in the U.S. to keep prices down and make sure he doesn't end up with empty shelves. He's applied for a home equity line of credit. If he gets it,
I can start stocking up for the holidays, but if I don't get that loan, I won't have holiday merchandise possibly.
If he doesn't have enough, he's not sure the shop can survive. I'm Samantha Fields for Marketplace.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Schwab. Schwab offers investors choices like full-service wealth management, self-directed investing options, and trading on Thinkorswim. More at schwab.com.
The U.S. administration wants to make it easier to fire more federal workers. Among the 50,000 layoffs that could follow, some who work at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, an office that calculates economic data that businesses, investors, and the government rely upon, such as today's jobs report. Marketplace's Nancy Marshall-Genzer has that.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics releases the monthly jobs report, the Consumer Price Index, the Producer Price Index, economists' bread and butter.
These statistics help us understand which metro areas across the country are growing faster or are losing jobs.
Economist Jed Kolko was an undersecretary at the Commerce Department in the Biden administration. He's worried that the proposed rule could sweep economists at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, or BLS, into a new job category, workers who can be fired at will without the usual appeals process. Kolko is worried that it could be harder for BLS economists worried about losing their jobs to deliver bad news, and that
might cause them to face pressure to change a methodology or change the way numbers are presented in order to look more favorable to the administration.
Erica Grosjean, a former BLS commissioner now at Cornell, says, for example, if the statistics look bad for the Trump administration, BLS
could discover some glitch in the way the numbers were calculated and say we have to withhold it until we're sure that the numbers are right.
Grosjean says ultimately people could lose faith in the quality of BLS data. I reached out to the BLS for comment on all of this, but didn't hear back by deadline. I did talk to Judge Glock at the Manhattan Institute, a right-leaning think tank. He says these are valid concerns, but he thinks BLS economists would resist pressure to manipulate data, even if they could be fired more easily, because their professional reputations would be at risk.
If one of them manipulates data clearly, that person, even if they were rewarded internally, will likely have a tough time for the rest of their life finding a good position.
And Glock says even if a BLS economist in the new job category were fired, they would be replaced by a career civil servant, not a political appointee. The rule establishing the new fire-at-will job category isn't final yet. It's still in the middle of a comment period. Plus, federal worker unions and their supporters have filed lawsuits challenging the proposed rule. I'm Nancy Marshall-Genzer for Marketplace.
The Justice Department is accusing some big health insurance companies of corrupting the semi-privatized part of Medicare, the government-funded health program for older and disabled people. In a complaint, the government prosecutors allege companies paid hundreds of millions of dollars in kickbacks to brokers to push patients into their Medicare Advantage plans. Among the accused, CVS, Aetna, Humana, and Elevance Health. Companies plan what they say is a vigorous defense. In Los Angeles, I'm David Brancaccio. It's the Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.